Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and peace and blessings to all the brothers and sisters that's out there watching, listening, and learning. All right, so I just wanted to go into this real quick. What happened in Venezuela, which, if you've been keeping up with the news, recently, this past weekend, I want to say, I believe this happened on Sunday. I think Sunday, maybe Saturday, forgot, but it was a couple days ago. Trump sent troops to capture Maduro, which that was the president or dictator of Venezuela, and Trump overtook Venezuela, and I believe Trump is running Venezuela as well. But we all, if you know the scriptures and you know what's going on in the geopolitical realm, you would know the real reason why Trump took over Venezuela or went in there was to steal all the oil, right? And that is the fact. Now all of a sudden, because the first narrative was, oh, Maduro, he was a dictator, and now that he's out the way, all of the people are happy. The people were so sad under Maduro. Now all of a sudden, Venezuela is going to give up $50 million of barrels, 50 million barrels of oil to the U.S. All of a sudden, we already knew. We already knew that this is mainly for the oil, right? Because oil is so essential, as it says here in the scriptures. This is Sirach 39:26. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing, right? So oil is essential. Now, why is oil essential? Let's look it up. Why is oil so important? Oil is crucial because it's the primary fuel for transportation, cars, planes, ships, and a vital feedstock for countless products like plastics, chemicals, and fertilizers, powering the global economy, modern industry, and daily life, despite its environmental impact. Its high energy density and portability make it ideal for moving goods and people, while its byproducts are essential for manufacturing nearly everything from electronics to clothes. So, oil has a part in everyday life, in our everyday life. Back in the day before we had electricity, right? How people would have light or get light or through what? Oil. Putting oil in their lamps and they would light it. And that's how they would have light because of oil. So oil is very important. Oil is very essential. How we move around, like I said, in our cars. You see? So, man, the US is full of crap. Trump is full of crap. And this is exactly why all the nations of the earth ultimately is going to gather together, and they're going to gang up on America because America is a big bully. and 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 everybody can see. Look, oil. I would have never guessed. Which obviously that's a sarcastic comment, right? This the first comment. That's a funny way of saying the U.S. stole it. Exactly. Yeah, just like the land we live on. Exactly, because this is stolen. This is stolen land. Why didn't he say the U.S. will rob 50 million barrels of oil? Exactly. We all know. Everybody know that Esau just went in there and stole it. Now, watch this real quick. And this also, this proves a lot of things. And one of the things this proves is the 12 tribes chart, right? And who we say the tribes are, who we say who we say that the tribes are, what nation people the tribes are. It validates this when it comes to the Asher because the people of Venezuela, for the most part, by and large, they are from the tribe of Asher. And what's that? That's Deuteronomy 33, right? Watch this. Go to Asher. Asher. Asher, boom. So boom. Let's go ahead and watch this real quick.
Live on our YouTube channel.
At the center of this U.S. strategy in Venezuela is oil. The country holds the world's largest reserves, and President Trump just.
So Venezuela holds the country's largest reserves in oil, beating Saudi Arabia and beating Iran, right? 303 billion oil reserves. Venezuela. Watch this, Deuteronomy 33 and verse 24. And of Asher, he said, let Asher be blessed with children, let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. See that? Let him dip his foot in oil. And Venezuela, which are from the tribe of Asher, right? That land is rich in oil. Top top in the world in oil reserves. You see? So that just validates the truth. That validates what we say. That the indigenous people of Venezuela, the Asherites, they are from the tribe of Asher for a fact. Right? So now let me go ahead and go into some prophetic scriptures, right? That just further prove that Esau, he's a complete thief. He's a complete thief, and all these other nations are gonna turn on him, including his allies. Because I believe I saw a video that even said Britain didn't have anything to do with this. Great Britain said they didn't want anything to do with what America was about to do in Venezuela, which is why Great Britain left the EU, right? The 10 toes, and it says that it shall be partly weak and partly strong. When you read Daniel chapter 2, and what made it weak? Matter of fact, let's go into it real quick. It's been a good while since I went into it. Daniel chapter 2, right? Daniel chapter 2. So you have the fourth kingdom, which is Rome. Daniel chapter 2, verse 41. It says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom, matter of fact, was that the verse I wanted? Oh, here we go. Yeah, let me keep reading. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of the potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And what is the 10 toes? What are the toes? The toes are going into the EU. Now, if you look up the original members of the European Union, they will say that it was what, 12? But you have to understand history. You have to understand how a couple of those nations, EU nations, were under one umbrella. Like Great Britain and Ireland were operating as one, right? So that's 11. And then you had Portugal and Spain. They were also under one umbrella as well. So that's 10 toes. Verse 42. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And when did that happen? That happened during the Brexit, when Great Britain removed itself from the feet, from the 10 toes. and that's how it became weak. And that's why Britain was like, we didn't want anything to do with this. Because Great Britain knows the US be on some BS, right? So now let's go into this. And that's exactly why the whole earth is gonna rejoice when this devil gets put down. I'm going to put a space between that, right? Habakkuk, Habakkuk, the second chapter tells you about that. Habakkuk 2 and verse 5. Matter of fact, let's start verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Meaning that this guy Esau, he's not right, and he can't be right. You got guys trying to save the so-called white man. Hey, the scriptures say, the prophecies say that this guy ain't right, and he can't get right. Verse 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. See, he's proud. Neither keepeth at home. Yeah, can't. Man, he done took over America. America is his new home, so to speak, and he can even stay here. He still got to invade other countries.